cannons before those scourges can do anything. But yeah, if the biggest strength that Zerg have is their ability to grow rapidly, to swarm. That is why they are the swarm. And if you allow them to do that, I just cannot think that it's a wise strategy. It's wise to have a strategy where you effectively allow them to do that and encourage them to do that, because you're just going to find yourselves getting overrun. Now Jagme's got the Dark Templars out. July, I'm sure he's scouted the Templar archives by now. I'm sure he's aware of exactly what's coming, and it'll be interesting if he's going to be able to counter this as well as he countered it in the previous game. Excuse me, against Best. He has got a Sunken and an Overlord at his expo towards, at the 9 o'clock position, towards which Jangbi has sent a DT, so that's not going to help him much. He's going to obviously try and send a Courser there, and he's now sending the 3 Coursers there to try and take that Overlord down, and that Overlord is actually going to go down, so it's going to be interesting to see how July now copes with this, because that DT is going to be coming in there, and is going to be going for the drones, and then immediately another brilliance by July, another Overlord pops just as soon as the first one died, and now he's got Scourges coming in to back up, and he's going to take all the Corsairs down. He took all the Corsairs down, but the DT still got through, so July's going to be forced to pull his drones out of here a little bit. 3 drone kills already for the DT. Meanwhile, Mutilus popping out for July. Another DT heading in towards the July's Natural Expo, but that's going to get intercepted, and the DT actually manages to make it through up the ramp. July's going to be able to pick it off though with the Mutilus and Zergli, so July now switching up to Mutiling, it looks like, and the 2 DTs doing modest amount of damage for Jangbi, but at the price of losing all 3 of his Sairs, so he's not got any sort of air superiority. July's now got air superiority, and Jangbi, I think most of his air defenses are at his Natural Expo. He's got an Archon, he's got a couple of Archons there, he's got 3 Photon Cannons. I'm not sure what he's got in his main. July now coming down, finding a couple of Zealots loose, blocking a ramp at the 10 o'clock, at the 3 o'clock position. July's going to take them down. 4 Photon Cannons. So Jangbi is almost playing. This is like, I'm sorry guys, I mean, this is going to sound very insulting, but the kind of way Jangbi is playing is the kind of way you would expect a player, a Protoss player on almost like iCup to be playing, putting down 4 Photon Cannons in his main and 3 in his Natural Expo. If you have to rely on that much static defense against an opponent at this level of play, you're going to be so far behind that it's going to be really difficult for you to catch up. He's just had to invest so many resources in static defenses so early on in the game that it's just pulled him further and further behind, and July actually has been quite clever. Most of his defenses are actually units, although he's put up a couple of Sunkens here or there, and you've got to feel that he's taken a decisive advantage, and really apart from those 2 DTs, Jangbi's pressure on July has been non-existent, and what little pressure he's applied has been quite weak. It's so weak that July doesn't even really need to make an effort to brush it off almost. He can just blow a breath of air, and that seems to be enough to brush off whatever pressure that Jangbi's putting onto him, and July continues to put the pressure on Jangbi with the Mutilus, keeping him busy at his base, and Jangbi is just cornered in his main. He's not able to move out at all. July's established effective air superiority over the entire map, and now he's coming into the Natural Expo to harass Jangbi, and he's going to get a few probe kills and equalize whatever little damage was done by the DTs. Jangbi's got 3 more Corsairs out, and how much more effective could his defense be had he a couple more Corsairs? And July's using the terrain to perfect advantage here, landing a couple hits on those Archons as well, and we all know just how trailblazing July was, and how much he invented and indeed set the StarCraft stage alight with his Mutilus micro, and he's continuing to do that right now, and Jangbi is in desperate need of someone buying up his toxic debt, because he's going to be sinking sooner rather than later. He's going to be liquidated, and July is continuing to build up his force. Jangbi is still, I'm not even sure if Jangbi is aware that July's actually made another switch and is starting to produce quite a number of Hydralisks while he's continuing to harass Jangbi with the Mutilus, and Jangbi, it'll be interesting if Jangbi actually gets caught off guard by this. Jangbi still being forced to defend with, and look, if you look at Jangbi's ground force, it's not anything to write home about. He's got a handful of Zealots, he's got a couple of High Templar, and a couple of Archons. Looks like now Jangbi's ready to make the push out. July's really kept him back and kept him down, and those forces can't really win. Great storm by Jangbi, catching most of July's Mutilus. July loses a good few of Mutilus in that storm. July trying to pick off the High Templar, but Jangbi's micro up to the task, and we all know that Jangbi is famous for his storms. That's what he's really good at, and he showed us that there. That was brilliant storming by Jangbi. Now trying to put up a Nexus at the 3 o'clock position and moving up with his forces to defend this. I'm not sure if July scouted it yet. July still has Scourge wandering on the map trying to catch Jangbi's forces off guard, and it looks like Jangbi's finally going to try and make an attack, but I think he's going to be overrun here. He's got a couple of Archons and a handful of Zealots against a mass group of Hydralisks. Even though those Zealots are speed upgraded, I'm just not, and I have 1-1. July's got Carapace upgrade as well as range attack upgrade on those Hydralisks, and I just don't think, and Jangbi's going to be forced to turn tail and run here, and if July finds that Expo at the 3 o'clock position, July's going to be able to go in there and comfortably take it out, because Jangbi just doesn't have what he needs to be able to defend it. Jangbi's going to try, and July needs to be careful here. He doesn't want to put too much pressure. He doesn't want to commit his forces too soon, even though he's vastly outnumbering his opponent right now. I think he should be settled to contain his opponent and take that other expansion down if he can find it. There's no need for him to go and fight in a narrow choke, which would allow Jiang Mi to use his storms to the best of his ability, and that's exactly what he did against Luxury in the games that he did manage to take from Luxury. But July is committing himself to the attack. He is pushing forward. Jiang Mi's High Templar are not able to get in range to cast the storms. Either that or they don't have the energy for the storms. He's used most of them up in Archons, and still no storms. And July continued to pound away at buildings and now getting range with the High Templar. And Jiang Mi, I don't understand where all his High Templar went. He converted them all to Archons trying to defend against the Mutalisk. Jiang Mi with a counter attack of Zealots at July's 9 o'clock expo, but Jiang Mi has no storms. He's got one High Templar that he's saving up on top of the ramp. Looks like he's going to be coming down now to put a storm, but it's a little bit too late because he's lost most of his army, and just like that, July's walked all over Jiang Mi's base, and Jiang Mi's continued to use lunacy. He finally managed to cast a storm on July's hard list, and managed to cast only 3 or 4 hard lists in the process, but Jiang Mi's going to lose his Natural Expo now as well, and July is just completely taking this game. He's completely overtaken this game, and there's nothing Jiang Mi's going to be able to do to come back from this, and really this has been a very comprehensive victory for July. July just continues to stream the Hydra list in, and Jiang Mi seems to be utterly powerless to stop. He's got a few more Zealots popping out, but those Zealots are going to get taken down as well. July successfully, meanwhile, defends his 9 o'clock Expo, and Jiang Mi's base is in tatters. He's continuing to fight, maybe just to try and irritate his opponent a little bit, but surely he should have GG'd by now, and the probes are now coming in to sacrifice themselves almost as a form of worship to July, worship to the God of War, and I'm sure the God of War would readily accept Jiang Mi's sacrifice. And once again, July gives us a thumping, comprehensive, emphatic victory over his Protoss opponents, and that is why he is the God of War. This is Klazart, guys. Thanks for listening. What a fantastic game of StarCraft. Well, if you're a Zerg fan.